yard looks great. Anyhow, hey, is the party evening tonight or tomorrow or...
Strangers suggesting I keep my voice down, just because it's 5 a.m. Not my problem. We're all too big this place to live. Fuck the neighbors. Fuck your yard. The more that you complain, the more we'll go hard.
What is up? You are listening to the March edition of the Relapse Records podcast, and I am your host, Nick. What you just heard was Ecstatic Vision with their track You Got It or You Don't. Also in that block there, we had some music from The Obsessed with their new song Punk Crusher, and they're going to be doing a record release party at Kung Fu Necktie April 8th. And if you want to check that out, they're going to be putting their details on their Facebook that you can go check out if you want to make an appearance and see what they got going on with the new record. And then, of course, starting it off with some Iron Reagan, Fuck the Neighbors, off of Crossover Ministry. One of my favorite records that's come out so far this year. Really enjoy the video for it as well. If you haven't seen it, go check it out on the Relapse Records YouTube channel. It reminds me a lot of if MTV Celebrity Deathmatch and South Park came together, since it's kind of like the claymation style video. It kind of is almost like a South Park-like setting, but a really funny video. Great record. Every song on the record is just so catchy, and I can't get enough of it. And they also just played some great shows with Power Trip last month, which went over really, really well. A lot of people said they were really great shows. But I got a lot of cool stuff for you guys this month. This month, our special guest is Don Tardy, the drummer for Obituary, since their self-titled album, is really, really solid stuff. Got a chance to talk to him about everything from the new album, being a band for over 30 years, NASCAR, beer, even cats. It's a really great conversation. I had an awesome time talking to him. But before we get to all that, I got some more music for you. So let's start it off with some King Woman. They're going to be out on tour with Oathbreaker and True Widow, so make sure you go check out the dates up online for that. So here is their new song, Hierophant. What you just heard was some music from John Frum. That was Presage of Emptiness, and it's a really cool new project. It features, I guess you could call it a supergroup, because it features a lot of members from other bands, which is a really, really cool mix of guys on this one. It's members of Dillinger Escape Plan, as well as The Faceless, John Zorn, Cleric, and a bunch more. So if you are into any of those, then you're going to like what you just heard and the rest of the music that the band is going to be putting out on that album. And also had some music from Gruesome and some Unearthly Trance with their song Into the Spiral, which I've been really digging. They got a music video for that you could go check out up on the Relapse YouTube. And then, of course, like I said before we went back on there, had some King Woman to start it with Hierophant. And again, they're on the road coming up with Oathbreaker and True Widow, which is a really cool tour package. Again, if you want to check out if they're going to be in your area, the dates are up online. You can check those out. And the next few songs I have coming up for you, you're really going to dig. There's some awesome throwbacks because we have a lot of death metal vinyl reissues coming up this upcoming month. So I've got some stuff from Death coming up, Necrophagist, and Dying Fetus. So let me tell you a little bit about what we got coming out. We have the Death Human reissue that's going to be out at the end of the month on March 31st. I got some Necrophagist as well with their Epitaph vinyl reissue, which is going to be the first pressing since the very original. So if you never got your hands on it, now is your time. Also, the Dying Fetus, this is a big one, 5 vinyl reissues. So that is going to be a big one. If you have ever missed out on getting a copy, now is going to be the time for that. So the 5 records are going to be pressed for the first time since their original pressing. So make sure you are ready for that. That's on March 24th on limited edition LP. That's going to be Reign Supreme, Descend into Depravity, War of Attrition, Stop at Nothing, and Destroy the Opposition. So a really, really solid group of reissues. So let's start it off with some Death. This is their track Flattening of Emotions. What you just heard was Dying Fetus with Schematics, Justifiable, Homicide, and then we also had some Necrophagist with Only Ash Remains, and then Death with Flattening of Emotions in there with all of their reissues. Death is doing the Human reissue March 31st, Necrophagist with Epitaph vinyl reissue, and Dying Fetus with the 5 vinyl reissues March 24th. Most of these are the first time these are being pressed since the first pressing, so if you haven't gotten to get your hands on them when they came out originally, now is going to be the time to do it. And then also upcoming, it's finally here. It's time for my awesome chat with Don Tardy, the drummer from Obituary. March is our big month for Obituary with their record coming out. So I had gotten to talk to him about everything regarding the new album, how being a band for over 30 years has reflected in their records, and why they chose this one to be the self-titled, as well as we talked about everything from his time with Andrew WK. We talked about beer, as well as cats. He's got a really cool thing he does with cats down in his home state of Florida. And then I've got some tracks from the new Obituary album as well to end things off. What's going on, guys? You are listening to the Relapse Records podcast here with our featured guest of the month, Don Tardy, the drummer from Obituary. What's going on, dude?
Nick, how you doing, brother?
Doing great. It's good to finally get to talk to you. Big album coming out. Well, actually, at this point, it probably will be out, so a lot of people will be hopefully really digging it. So what kind of are your expectations being a band for this long, knowing you have a diehard fan base? Do you still get the jitters of, oh no, I hope people like it?
I think the jitters turn into just pure excitement now. Like I know what my fans and my friends like because it's the same thing I like.
Right.
And I could not be more excited about the new songs. And so I think it's going to translate into Obituary fans just shitting themselves. I mean, it's just somehow whatever happened, the stars lined up on this record for Obituary, and we're so stoked on this album.
Okay, for sure. And now at this point, I mean, you've been doing this, it's crazy, 30 years now. Now, how do you kind of, evolution of the band, it's kind of, especially with death metal, it's a very interesting genre where it's kind of, sticks to the core of what the genre is. So how do you continue to put out new material without necessarily reinventing the wheel, but yet still not staying completely stagnant?
I think I don't know how it is with other bands, but I think what works for us and why it is that way is that we don't think too much about what's about to happen.
Okay.
And that means literally walking into the jam room to write a song or stepping into the reality of a future with a new album. We don't think about what we did on the last record. We're not thinking about what other bands are doing around us or what fans are talking about. We could care less. Okay. I just know that, Obituary has a chemistry of writing a song by just simply not worrying about what is about to happen. And that means like literally me and Trevor showing up to the jam room and not discussing something we've been working on, or Trevor bringing something on a hard drive and making me listen to something. We don't ever do that. We literally crack a cold beer and we go for it. And within 15, 20 minutes, something happens and we can start working on it, or nothing does. And then there's always tomorrow if nothing happens that day.
Okay.
And I guess, to answer the question is we don't really think that much about it, and we just let the music find us.
So it's a very organic process.
It is, and why wouldn't it be? I mean, you're talking about, I met Trevor when I was 11 in 1980.
Wow. Yeah.
And, you know what I mean? We've been hanging out since, so there's no, we have to figure out how we're going to write the next record. We just do it, and it's more natural than it's ever been right now with us. It was a blast writing the record this time.
That's awesome. And I wanted to know why, after being a band for, 30 years and putting out, 10 albums at this point, what was the idea to finally put this one as the self-titled? Do you feel like this is kind of like the calling card for the band, like the best work, and this kind of deserves that stamp as the Obituary self-titled album?
If I said that was the way it went down, I'd be lying.
Okay.
It's very simple. We've been a band 3 decades now,
right? And
we have been in the studio many times, and so the releases they are what they are. The Slowly Rot, the songwriting, that album cover, the Cause of Death album cover, everyone pictures when they think of the album Cause of Death. So after so many years and this new album, and it being the 10th time we're in the studio, when we saw the logo and what Andreas Marshall did for the album cover, it's just such a classic Florida death metal obituary style album cover that we didn't. There was no need to search John's lyrics and think of a clever song title and album title like most bands and all of us have to do again and again.
Right.
So it was a culmination of everything. It's been a long ass time. The album cover is so beautiful that we didn't need words. Even if there was an amazing title that we had for the album, it's not needed. Mm-hmm. And we're comfortable with that. And it is what it is. We just simply said, you know what? It looks so good. Why even try and name this album? It doesn't need it. And it was a very easy decision. It's not like we thought about it. It's not like we discussed it. The band just agreed right off the bat. Just call it Obituary this time and let everyone just stare at that logo and just freak out on the music.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like sometimes taking all the bells and whistles away almost brings the whole overall kind of theme and package to even a higher level.
Right, because it could have been a 5-worded titled album, and why? I mean, again, we are basic dudes. We're very simple men, and we let the music speak for itself.
For sure. And I know you recorded this one at your home studio, so I'm assuming that was just a very kind of easy process to kind of have your own time and, obviously your environment, because, obviously a lot of bands, sometimes they go to these studios they either have never been, and sometimes that kind of can affect the vibe. So definitely I'm assuming that kind of having your own space to really vibe out and write the record and record it probably kind of helped with that whole process in the first place.
Yeah, you could not be more correct. I mean, we have had the studio for 15 years.
Yeah.
And we've recorded the last 4 albums here. We tracked them all here since The Darkest Day.
Okay.
And so, yes, absolutely. There's no more having to drive to a studio and knowing that there's an engineer and a producer and a crew and people waiting for you, and you have to be there at 2 p.m. to do recording at 4 p.m. and you got to be on your game at 4 p.m. when the record light gets pushed, and you got to play your ass off. Even people are waiting around, and it's a long day, blah, blah, blah. Now it's like especially when we write, obviously the studio's great. When we write, it's amazing. We have a jam. It's a glorified man cave. It is a studio, but there is a pool table, and there are 2 big screen TVs, and we're constantly watching NASCAR and NFL. And so the writing process is fun. But when it comes to hitting record, we just have the Pro Tools rig. We've had it now for 4 albums, and we're getting pretty good drum sounds out of this room. And exactly. I can simply say, you know what? I feel like I want to record tomorrow. Like if I want to be over here at 11 p.m. at night and just kind of getting deep and thinking about it and trying to come up with the drum, the drum vibe and preparing to record a song. But I'll literally show up at 9 in the morning and have a few cups of coffee in me, and I can be recording it at 10 a.m. and be done by noon if I wanted to, and I'm not making people wait around. I can come at midnight and record if I wanted to, and so yes, there's no pressure. In fact, pressure is not even a part of it anymore. It's just like, it's like going to Disney World. I get to come here and power everything up and fire up the Pro Tools rig, and I can record in here by myself. I can, that's normally what we do on these records is, a lot of the times I'm in here by myself, going over to the computer and hitting record and then stepping back over to my drums and playing.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And John does the same thing. John engineered all his shit on this album. He literally didn't need anyone's help. He's a father of 2. So he's out here at like 7 a.m. and warming up and thinking about his shit. And the kids go to school and he's out here, doing it on his own without anyone around tracking the album.
Yeah.
And just to hear his voice and how he did it this time out here, I mean, I'm just so proud of this record, man. It came out so good.
For sure. And now a quick side comment and we'll go back to the album thing, but you caught me with the NASCAR because I'm a huge NASCAR fan. Who's your guy?
Absolutely. I don't know, because Earnhardt was only because I'm a Budweiser drinker, and everyone can probably just side right there, hear me say that, but don't get mad at me. It says it on the can, King of Beers. So I don't have a driver. I just
kind of watch.
I love the sport. I love watching how they can do that. How they can go 200 and something miles an hour and be 3 wide, and knowing that there's going to be the big wreck.
Oh yeah.
Like Daytona this year. I mean, you knew it was about to happen, and you're waiting for it, and you could hold your breath, and before you had to exhale, it's going to happen, and it did.
So, what's your thoughts on like the whole they're revamping the entire sport basically? What do you think about it so far? I'm undecided.
I'm completely undecided. My brother and Trevor they follow it to where they understand that kind of like,
right.
I have to ask them 6 different times, why would they change it? And, when it goes to, once you're in and you're in for the chase, if you won, why wouldn't you still have a chance, to win? I don't really know. Again,
right.
I just think it's amazing that a car can go so fast.
Oh, sure.
And that when there is a wreck, that they don't die.
Yeah, it's insane the safety things they can do now.
It's amazing. It's amazing to see them dudes just cartwheeling and smashing into each other, and everyone walks away.
For
Can you
sure.
imagine flipping in a car like at 200 miles an hour and then walking away and not being mentally disturbed for the rest of your life?
Yeah, it's insane. And kind of going off that physical aspect, I'm a drummer myself, so I consider drumming a sport in itself because it's a very physical and grueling instrument to play. And I wanted to ask you, especially as a death metal drummer, playing for over 30 years now, and obviously over time it can become more difficult, especially playing that kind of style. And I've heard people call out Paul from Cannibal Corpse about how his style, he's kind of, as his age comes, he's not as great live, but I don't necessarily see that. But how do you keep yourself in such great shape and making sure that as a drummer, you can still stay on top of your game?
I don't know. I don't know, man. I can only speak for myself. Paul's one of my good friends. I love Paul. I think Cannibal Corpse is one of the most successful death metal bands and has held their own for sure. But, speaking for myself, I am more brutal now than I've ever been in my life. My feet are faster than they've ever been. I'm more solid as a drummer, and that doesn't mean how loud I can play a drum, because everyone knows it when they've seen Obituary. I'm a pretty loud live drummer as it is, because it is mid-tempo kind of music, so I can get away with playing louder than blast beats, and that's a given.
Right.
But I don't know, man. I'm only getting stronger, faster, and that's the easy part. Like, it's being tasty and confident, and I'm pouring with that right now when it comes to these new songs and the Obituary live set list. So, I don't know. I'm a hyper crazy fool, and yes, I'm 47 years old, but I feel like I'm 27, and I'm faster now and more solid behind the drums playing Obituary songs than ever before.
That's awesome.
I look forward for people to show up that have never seen Obituary live to experience it, because it is fun. It's fun and it's killer, and it is so tight and solid live that it's a really cool thing to see live.
For sure. And I've had I also work up at the radio station WSOU, and I've had a ton of people who have said they've come through to see you play, and unfortunately I haven't gotten to yet, but I'm hoping very, very soon on one of the upcoming tours to definitely come check that out. But
I hope you do.
For sure.
We obviously the Creator Tour, and then we just announced an East Coast Redneck run. So I don't know if you can sneak out wherever you are.
Might have to try, but
awesome.
I wanted to talk to you about that as well. So you're out. You're doing the tour with the Decibel magazine tour with Creator, and then you just mentioned, if you want to explain a little bit what the other tour is that you just had announced there.
Yeah, first of all, obviously Decibel magazine inviting us, and us literally giving them. We wrote a song.
Yeah, for the
flexi disc. We were dying to be on the record, and but instead we knew how important it was and how much we would hook them up and how much they probably would appreciate it. So Obituary gave Decibel, we gave the magazine an exclusive track, and so we're so stoked about it. We're actually playing that song on this Creator Tour, so we're stoked about that. And once we're done with that tour, it is a monster tour, like 25 shows. We get to come home and recharge for a couple weeks, and then we head right back out up the East Coast of America. And all the dates are on the obituary.cc website. And we listen to our fans on Facebook and all their comments where they say, you always miss Louisville, Kentucky, and you always miss West Virginia, and all our redneck friends, all them country folk that don't ever get to see it. We just set up another 2-week tour to go up the East Coast of America, and we are looking forward to our friends showing up and drinking some cold beers with us.
For sure. And like you mentioned, that Decibel tie is pretty cool, and I was going to actually mention that, how you wrote a song specifically for their Flexi Disc series, which is really, really cool. Now, I wanted to ask you, how do you think, as a band that has been around for multiple music formats, because this is actually something I'm studying at school too, is kind of the change in how music is absorbed, obviously from vinyl, the cassette, CD, so on. Now with the internet and streaming, what kind of do you feel like doing that kind of stuff kind of gives you that extra edge to kind of maybe bring in a certain audience that may not pick up, the new album, because that I feel like certain generations stick towards certain formats of music?
I agree, and you're correct, and you're touching on something very important, because all a band wants to do is spend their money and blood, sweat, and tears and writing it and recording an album for their fans.
Right.
And all they do is cross their fingers and pray that the fans go and buy the record, whether it's from your phone and purchasing it and getting it on your phone, or getting a physical copy of the CD like we all hope that our fans do. And then more importantly, all them dudes that are buying the vinyl that don't even have a needle,
yeah,
but they wanted it because they're still old school. That's what we love. And of course, but it is the new future. It is people that won't take the time necessarily to go buy the physical copy. But if you put it out there on all avenues and you grab a new fan that's probably under 25 years of age, because we are an old band, maybe we grab a new fan, and that new fan, maybe they'll buy the album digitally because they want to support a new band that they found. I can't, the band's not going to cry. We can't cry anymore about people, how we listen to music as a human being on this planet right now. Everybody's not afraid to just hit click and find it on YouTube and actually listen to records on YouTube, or however people are doing it, streaming it on Spotify and whatever. It's not paying the band members. Again, you can't cry about spilled milk. I don't cry about spilled beer. You wipe it up, you figure out how you're going to make money on your record, and that's what we do.
For
we
sure.
put albums out. We hope all them dudes that buy physical copies, and thank all of you that did it. Thank you. That is what makes us happy. But we also hope that there's new fans that somehow run across it and they go, damn, I didn't think I liked death metal, but you know what? This band isn't, this is not noise. This is some groovy ass shit, and hopefully we gain a fan or two.
For sure. I think that's a really great way of looking at it. But
I do too. I mean, how else are you supposed to look at it besides getting bitter and mad?
Yeah,
or frustrated. Yeah, that doesn't do anyone any good. Why be bitter and mad? Life's too short. There's no time to be a dick.
True. Agreed. Very, very true. Also, going off of that kind of question, obviously being a band itself over the 30 years and seeing that change in how music is absorbed, you've seen the change in the music itself. And obviously you guys had a big part in starting the death metal scene in general. And obviously over those 30 years, that genre has grown. It's introduced other subgenres into it. It's crossed into, the newer deathcore and stuff like that. And even now deathcore is evolving to a whole nother thing. Now, how do you see yourself as an influence to what kind is going on in the metal community today?
I think my role is as a drummer for Obituary, and Obituary's role is to not pay attention to what other bands are doing on this planet and get influenced by anyone else. We are cavemen. We are put on this planet to write obituary songs, which are basic and solid and not overthought of and not too technical, because when people buy an Obituary album or their friends say, listen to this band, they expect it to be Obituary, which is mid-tempo and groovy and crunchy and solid drum beat and not blast beats and 1,000-mile-an-hour feet all the time. And so that's kind of how I think we contribute as Obituary. And there's a lot of change that happened since Obituary started, in the 80s and in the early 90s. It was the beginning of death metal, and it just was starting. So there was a lot of everything you thought of was a fresh idea. So it was easy to write a song or an album. And nowadays, you're talking 28 years later, it's not that easy anymore, because you write a riff and everyone goes, well, that's already been done.
Right.
So now these new bands and new musicians, like these new drummers, they run circles around me. And I'll be the first to say that. They're doing shit with their feet that I can't do with my hands. And I'm okay with that, man.
Yeah.
I'm comfortable in my skin. So I'll stick to that John Bonham, Vinny Appice kind of old rock and roll metal feel, because that's where I grew up. And
For sure.
but again, our role was simple, man. stick to the basics. Keep it simple, stupid.
For sure, for sure. And now we mentioned this earlier. I think it's an interesting talking point, and I think it ties into that as well about the whole change in music and sticking to what you know, but also kind of branching off as well. Like you said, obviously you are in a death metal band, but like you said, you mostly listen to things outside of metal. And even I didn't even realize it until I looked into it, but you were even the original drummer for Andrew WK, which compared to Obituary is a whole other ball game.
Yeah.
So I kind of we'll talk about the two different parts of it. We'll talk about the Andrew WK part. I find very interesting. How did you? Because I think the thing that's crazy about that is it also helped you get the Obituary gig back together as well in a way. So
it probably did. It would have happened anyway, but Andrew somehow had one last little bit of fuel in his lighter and was able to strike a flame one more time just in time. And put us. I told him that if I invited my boys to come up on stage on Ozfest and play an Obituary song with you, they would probably do it. And that was all it was. Andrew didn't have a game plan of, oh my God, I'm going to put the band back together. He just said, are you serious? Would they really do that? They'd come and play a song down in Miami at the Ozfest? And I'm like, dude, we haven't been a band in like 5-6 years. Yeah. We still hang out and watch sports and shit, but we just got away from after 20 something years of record labels and living in backpacks and in buses and on airplanes, we just went and took a break for a little bit in our 30s or whatever it was. I don't even know. And we took a little break, but yes, that's all. So I guess let's start with the Andrew thing. Obituary was kind of on a hiatus. We haven't done anything for a few years. And I got a letter in the mail written in pencil.
Oh,
and it was a dude named Andrew WK. And he just said, Obituary is one of my favorite bands. You're one of my favorite drummers. Here's my demo, and if you'd be interested, I'd like to write some music with you, and you help me out. And I just still remember that. And that was like in 1999, I think.
Wow.
It might have been in 1998 when he wrote me. But it was probably like 1999. And I listened to the demo, and of course, Obituary wasn't doing anything at the time. I play drums every day. That's what I do. I had a regular job. I think I was an airborne driver.
Okay.
Like FedEx, Airborne.
Yeah.
Before I don't even know if it's DHL now, but
okay.
I was just I was doing I was basically a FedEx driver, if you want to call it that, and still just jamming because that's all I wanted to do is play drums. So when I heard Andrew's music, it was 100% opposite of Obituary.
Yeah.
And I already had Obituary. I already had death metal. I was not going to go and start a band and play death metal and without my brother singing, and with my brother it would be Obituary. So it caught my eye and caught my attention and caught my fancy.
Yeah.
It was killer. It was classic. Like it was it reminded me of so much shit when I first heard it that I was like, what in the world is this silly, weird, fun ass shit? And I loved it immediately. And he and I hit it off very well. I helped him record the first album, and we literally went from just a concept. He asked me if I had any idea about a band, and I said, "Are you asking me to put a band together?" And I literally put everyone. Those are just all my boys that were in that original band, and then Jimmy Koo, who was his original main man, his right wing. Came from it. Andrew found him, and everyone else I put in the band, and me and Jimmy become great friends and still are today. And I toured 3.5 years and like 500 shows with Andrew. It went from just a concept to a gold album, and we were playing Saturday Night Live and Conan O'Brien and Warped Tours and Ozfest and like everything that I don't do with Obituary. So it was a weird experience. And I had to play with in-ears to a click track because there was backing tracks in Obituary. Everyone knows Obituary does not. We don't play games, you know what I mean? But I toured for 3 years playing to a cowbell and playing to a click track on stage and running back then it was before it was digital. There was DAT tapes, DAT.
Okay.
We had two big machines on stage that me and my drum tech, Rich, had to run. And then Rich Russo, my one of my best friends, and he was my drum tech that whole time. When I stepped away from Andrew because Obituary got busy, Rich stepped in and is still Andrew's drummer now. So I still talk with Andrew. He's still a great friend of mine, and he's still a pretty amazing guy.
Oh, for sure. He's definitely very outspoken and has a lot that he has going on for him. But it's definitely cool that you were there to start things off with him. Now, how was that kind of having to play something completely different? Like you said, having to follow a click, playing in front of a different audience. Was that something that was quite a challenge?
It was not a challenge because as a drummer of the 70s and 80s, like as a kid, like jamming, all a kid wants to do is when your mom leaves is to find some headphones and put on a ZZ Top album or an AC/DC album and play to it. So you're playing to an album and you're having to stay in time.
True.
And you have to be calm and stay with the cowbell, that kind of feel. I did that my whole life. So it was instantly very natural for me to play to a click and stay count in the band with an 8 count and play and stay focused during a song. The thing that was funny as hell and amazing and unexpected and unseen was Andrew exploded. That album exploded. Oh, yeah. Like, it went gold. We were playing in Taiwan and fucking Japan, and every show we did, it was, and everyone that's listening to this knows, when Andrew exploded, it wasn't just a band playing on stage. There was like 70 people on stage at certain points, and more people. He was grabbing people and bringing them up on stage more than that were in crowds sometimes. There was 50 people standing on a stage falling into my drums. So that alone was ridiculous and chaotic, but I had to play to a click track, so there was no messing up or getting getting off track. And successfully pulled it off, except for obviously a couple speed bumps throughout the career with Andrew. Which were there was a couple epic things that were funny as hell that happened to us that I never experienced with Obituary because it was to a click track.
And then obviously the other side of the question we want to talk about too is how you said you listen to a lot outside of death metal itself. So what kind of like you mentioned, you said Skinner, ZZ Top. So what kind of how did you get into wanting to be in a death metal band?
I'm the youngest of 4 children, and so in the 70s, when I started getting interested in drums, like literally, like it caught my eye, and I was grabbing, like a typical kid in the 70s, I was grabbing wooden spoons and the pots and pans from my mom's counter and running up to my room and figuring it out. But that was long before death metal.
Right.
That was like when and so I'm the youngest of 4. I have 3 other siblings that are older than me. My oldest brother was a huge music fan, so he had a badass, Kenwood stereo system and all his vinyl collection in 1975, and that's when I started learning what music was, and he would play music with me and for me, and then by the time I was 7 years old, when he would go to work, because he was probably 16 at the time, he was 10 years older than I am, he would go to work, and I would go in there and figure out how to work his turntable, and I'd find I found Molly Hatchet and Outlaws and Leonard Skinner and Queen and just music that was obviously here in Florida, and he was into Southern rock, so I found all those records, and that's what turned me into wanting to play music, was listening to Leonard Skinner and Molly Hatchet, and he didn't have he didn't have Black Sabbath albums and stuff when that was already happening. So I was growing up to Southern rock. I was growing up to Charlie Daniels and Stevie Ray Vaughan. And so I was into music long before what death metal was even considered. Then, of course, Black Sabbath entered the bloodstream along with Iron Maiden in 1979, 1980, 81, when Judas Priest and everything started exploding.
Oh, yeah.
As a kid, I finally found it. I'm like, holy shit, this is Black. Listen to this. This dude's name's Randy Rhoads. Listen to this motherfucker.
Yeah.
And that's what turned me, and then of course Kill 'Em All record came out, and all of us just wanted to just start mosh pitting in our mom's bedroom, And that's how it started, it was long before metal. I was into Southern rock because I was a kid in Florida with an older brother that had an amazing vinyl collection, but it was Led Zeppelin, and Pink Floyd, and it was before metal.
For sure. And then another thing I wanted to talk about is, other than Obituary itself, you guys have some other projects that you have going on outside of music, the one that I think is cool because I've been getting more into it lately is you have your own beer, which I think is interesting because I'm seeing a lot of metal bands the last few years are breaking into it.
Yeah.
But so I wanted to talk to you about that. So it's called Hopped in Half. So what kind of went into, did you guys actually get to decide what it was going to be, or did someone come to you with it already and be like, could you put your name on this?
No, absolutely. It was 100% us. And
Okay.
I'll tell you the story. You know, we were invited to play, it was called Dark Lord Day Festival.
Okay.
And it was up there in where Three Floyds Brewery is. I think it's Indiana. Up in Indiana. We were invited the same year. Us and Corrosion of Conformity played. They headlined it, and Obituary played that day. And it was a beer company, and they have a beer called Dark Lord Imperial Ale.
Okay.
And it's only available one day of the year.
Wow.
And you have to go to the festival to get the beer. So you pay for the ticket to get in, but that ticket gets you 4 of those big bottles. I don't know what they call them.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Those big. So it's a 4-pack. So the people that get there, they're going there for the beer.
I think
the
they're called,
music
are
is
they
just a given.
growlers?
They're like, yeah, I'm going to go again this year and get the beer. I'm going to blah, blah, blah. But hey, check it out this year. It's Obituary.
Yeah.
So long story short, we were invited, and of course we would love to go do it, and we did it. And I remember it was like 45 degrees and raining all day long. And so we got there, we played a festival, and it was amazing to see. There was like, I mean, easily there must have been 7,000, 10,000 people at the actual grounds, and it was where the factory was. What do you call it? The brewery.
Okay.
The brewery was like, it looked like about a half a mile away. You can see the big, humongous brewery, and then the stage and all the crowd watching the music was probably a quarter of a mile away, maybe 5 or 10 football fields away. And what amazed me was, as Obituary was playing on stage, there was probably about 1,000 people watching around the stage where the music was. But when you look at the brewery, what you get to do is you get to stand in line to get your beers, and you walk through the brewery to grab your 4-pack, and you get to see the production going on. I'm not kidding. There must have been 4,000 people in line to get their beer while there's death metal on stage.
Yeah.
With only about 1,000 people watching us. It was funny as hell. I mean, it was cool. It was fucking cool. So anyway, we're sitting there playing our set, and there was this dude on the side of the stage sitting there with a raincoat on watching us. At the end of the Obituary set, he came up to us and he said, dude, I've been a fan since Cause of Death. I'm the master brewer of Three Floyds Brewery, and I would love to come collaborate with you. And that's how it started. And of course, we were like, absolutely, there's no question. I told him, you know, we have some obviously ideas and what we would want and what we wouldn't want, because my brother and I are Budweiser drinkers.
There you go.
And the time I was telling, his name's Chris Boggs, the master brewer.
Okay.
When I was explaining that to Chris, my girlfriend was with me, and I've known her for 25 years. We've been together for like 17 years, so she knows me, and she knows my brother, and we're Pilsner, we're loggerheads. We drink watery beer, and when she heard me say, we can either let you do whatever you want and make some dark fucking syrupy-ass bullshit that I'll never drink, or we can be honest to ourselves and make something that maybe I would like to drink on a hot day in Florida.
Right.
And she looked at me, and my girl looked at me, she's like, dude, hopped in half.
Hey, there you go.
You know, not a bunch of syrup bullshit, and that's how it all came about.
I like that. I'm going to have to test it out. So how do you feel? Have you had any other bands' beers? Have you tested any of them out? Because now everyone has one, it seems like.
I've had all the Three Floyds. When we were that was a 2-year licensing that we did with Three Floyd. It's over now. It was amazing. It was so fun to do it with them. And so yes, all of them. They did a COC, Corrosion of Conformity beer called Wise Blood, and I had it, and it was terrible. It was like 9% and dark.
Oh, wow.
Just like what I didn't want. I'm so glad we did the hopped in half the way we did. And then I did they gave us I got some of the Cannibal when we did the Cannibal Corpse tour with them. They did their Hammer Amber Smash Face.
Okay.
And again, it was horrible. I'm not a beer drinker like
really
that.
Heavy
it was
beers.
Fun for like 2 or 3 sips, but it was so dark, and it was like 9%.
Yeah.
I mean, who can drink it's hard to get through one 12-ouncer. Imagine drinking one of them big bottles. You know, it was too much for me.
Yeah,
so,
I could see that. But you know,
and I guess to keep the beer story going is the thing that's cool about that is Three Floyds is up in Indiana and Michigan and up there. So they just came to us because they were true metal fans of the band and of the music. And that turned into, now when we came back home, Cigar City is a big beer company here in Florida, and they are exploding, and they can't keep their shit on shelves. And they came to us, and they want to collaborate with Obituary as well. So we are proud to say that we're going to work with a Florida brewery now. Cigar City is going to do a beer with us, so we will be launching that and giving everyone a taste of what it's going to be, and give them an idea of exactly what we're going to do here shortly, because we're just talking for those dudes right now about what we want to do.
Oh, cool! So it's in the works.
It is in the works. We already went to the brewery and sipped some beers and talked about it and discussed it. Came up with a couple cool ideas, and announcements will be happening here shortly.
Oh, perfect. And then the flip side of beer is cats. Is you guys have I love the name, the Metal Meowlicia, and you guys do a lot with cats. So kind of tell me what went into making this organization. I think it's really cool you guys do that.
It's not an organization, and it's not the guys.
Okay.
It's just myself.
Oh, okay.
It's something that I have done for the last nearly 15 years because, again, I'm a Floridian. I live here, so I know what happens in Florida. And in Florida, the homeless cat population, just like anywhere just south of the equator on this planet, there's no winter time. There's no hard winter in Florida, so cats can breed year-round. So the overpopulation problem is a real issue. Years ago, man, I just got tired of seeing, kittens being born every time I go driving through a parking lot of a McDonald's or whatever, at my McDonald's or my apartment complexes around me. I got tired of seeing cats just kind of struggling and, still breeding, and no one kind of looking out for them and helping. Right. So I just figured out what people do, volunteers that what they do, and I educated myself how I can help my community and my neighborhood. And it's called Trap, Neuter, Return. Trap, Neuter, Vaccinate, Return, TNRV. It's from the Humane Society. It's a program they got. It's just volunteer-based. I basically look around my neighborhood and I say, look, man, behind this Taco Bell, there's 4 cats that hang out in a little colony. She's already had 1 litter of kittens. If I don't do anything, in 4 months from now, she's going to have another. And they're getting, kittens are getting run over by cars. They're just trying to survive. It was making me sad. So I just learned it's a program called TNVR.
Okay.
And they let you borrow the trap. You go there, those 4 cats that are in that colony, you trap them individually. You take them to the Humane Society. It costs very little. It cost me literally probably $10 to get a cat spay-neutered. They get a vaccination shot for rabies. They get flea meds, and then they're returned right where they were trapped. So when I return them, they still know where they're at.
Right.
They get to live their lives, and they can no longer breed.
Oh.
So it eliminates the breeding, and it helps the population problem. So I did that for the first 2 or 3 years of really diving into it and helping all the colonies and the cats kind of around just my immediate 2 square mile of my house, all my neighborhoods and apartment complexes that I drive by every day, a couple churches, a couple McDonald's, that kind of thing. And now, because I have a big heart, they've all been spay-neutered, and now I just kind of monitor on a daily basis all my colonies to make sure no new ones show up. If they do, they go through the program. It's also called Tip Deer program because when they get them fixed while they're under anesthesia in the program in the process, they take a little tip of the left ear. They cut just the top of the left ear off. So each one of them has a notched ear. Okay. So then you can see week to week, day to day, okay, you've been done, everyone's been done, they're good, and then a new guy shows up. You trap him real quick, you get him fixed or her fixed so she's not having babies. Anytime I find kittens that are under about 2 months old, they're still able to socialize and get them friendly and get them into an adoption program. So the kittens we get off the streets, I socialize them in one of my bathroom at my house, and then they go through an official adoption program with a couple different rescue groups here in Florida that help me out. Okay. And I don't know, it's weird to people that I do it. It's really cool for some people to hear that I do it, and it's just something I'm passionate about, and I see that I make a difference, a positive difference in my neighborhood. There's not half the problem that there was when I first realized that it was going on, and I didn't know what to do. Now now it's just a little bit of money out of my pocket. I don't have children, so I got 4-legged kids, and they're out there waiting for me to feed them. And I got a big heart. I feed them. I get them food and fresh water every night before I eat dinner.
That's awesome. That's really cool that you do all
right
that.
On.
That's really cool. I definitely appreciate you putting in the effort for that. That's really cool.
Cool, man.
Yeah,
Right on.
For sure. And
the
then
Metal Militia, everyone knows it's, Facebook. I'm so busy with Obituary that I don't get to update my Metal Militia Facebook page that much, but everyone can always go and see what I'm doing when it comes to socializing kittens in my bathroom. I'm always trying to take video and showing how I got them off the streets and make sure they're friendly and healthy. And then we get them into adoption programs. And then, so there's a lot of video and stuff of me doing it. And then if people are interested and they care to share a $5 or a $10 bill or whatever they can afford, our PayPal is helpcats@obituary.cc. So anyone that wanted to help feed the kitties with me, they are. I would never say no to a couple bucks throwing them to the cats.
Definitely, I'll have to check out the page, and definitely we'll see if we can put some links or something in to help you out.
And anyone
with that
doesn't care, I'm totally cool with that as well. I just do it because it's my community, and I wanted to make a little bit of a difference.
For sure. And then we'll wrap it up. I got one more question for you.
Cool.
So on the album, you have the song 10,000 Ways to Die. What to you is the most metal way you could die?
Man, for me, it would have to be waiting to play an important show. I play barefoot a lot of the time, so literally taking my shoes off, knowing that this is the show I've been waiting to play, and then die with drumsticks in my hands before I can hit the first note.
Just that anticipation. I like that.
Why not? Imagine, I always think when I get on an airplane, as you know, 30 years career, we've been on many planes.
For sure.
And I always think after flying to Australia, anyone that's flown to Japan or Australia, they know how amazingly brutal it is to say, I have to sit on this airplane for 17 hours in this seat and watch 4 movies and fall asleep and then wake up and still have 6 hours to go.
Yeah.
But I always say to myself, man, if this plane's going to crash and I'm going to die, you better do it now, leaving Tampa for the first 4 minutes of my life, compared to, ladies and gentlemen, we're starting our descent after 17 hours and 16 minutes. Oh my God, we're going to die. Don't do me that way.
I could see that. Yeah, that would make more sense. That would
be going down pissed off like, you motherfucker.
I like that. Awesome. Well, it's been really great to chat. Is there anything you want to add wrapping up?
You know what? All we care about is our fans. Metal fans are the coolest dudes on the planet.
Oh, yeah.
I don't care about other genres. I don't care about hip-hop music. I could care less about the country world. Both that music doesn't go anywhere. It doesn't evolve. It's actually getting worse. Metal's getting better, and the fans know that, and that's why they follow metal music. We're not on the radio, and our fans have to follow us if they like us, and that proves that they're real music fans, and we love them for that. So, horns up. And, the new album we are super proud of, so we hope everyone somehow gets it in their hands and turns it up as loud as they possibly can get it on their speakers. Do is the first song off the record, and it's called Brave.
All right.
And then I'll also do Straight to Hell.
For sure. And again, thank you. Appreciate your time. It's been a great chat. Have to catch you at a show and drink some beers.
Absolutely. See you guys this year.
Time, all to rise, least and falling. Yeah.